So, I saw the Barbie movie. Hello doll fans and welcome back to Beauty Inside a Box. My name's Joey and today I'm very excited because I am talking about the highly anticipated film, The Barbie Movie. Or as I think it's called, just Barbie. By the way, if you want to see me talk about the dolls from the Barbie movie, I made a whole video about that. I will put a link in the description and on the screen somewhere. But anyway, let's talk about the movie itself. Because last Friday, the day it came out, I went with 4 of my friends, my mum, my dad, and my brother to see the Barbie movie. And oh my goodness, it was such an experience. I was honestly blown away. I was a bit nervous going into the cinema, to be honest, because I've waited so long for this film to come out and I've talked about it so much and I've speculated about it so much that I was actually nervous. I was nervous to see it. And I'm a bit conflicted. Not gonna lie, I'm a bit conflicted. I'm probably gonna say some things in this video which other people won't agree with, but just remember, this is my opinion on the film. But mostly, I was very pleased. I was really happy with the film. And I'm sure Mattel is also very happy with this film because it had the biggest domestic opening of 2023. It had the biggest opening ever for a female director. You go, Greta Gerwig. It had the biggest opening for a film based on a toy, so take that, Lego Movie. And it had the biggest opening ever for Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. And I think this one was the biggest win. It had the biggest opening weekend for a movie that isn't a sequel, remake, or superhero movie. And it also beat Oppenheimer at the box office, so we really are living in a Barbie world right now, and I couldn't be more happy, to be honest. The big thing about this film was that it was for the gals and the gays, and we love that. And it was for adults as well, which was kind of surprising. You know, it's a 12A in the UK, I believe, which means it's not really made for kids. You know, it's not really a kid's film. And considering Barbie has had such an expansive history spanning over, 60 years, 60 or more years, I'm not surprised that they wanted this film to appeal to not only kids, but adults. Now, before I go any further, let me just warn you that this video does involve spoilers. So if you haven't seen the Barbie movie, then save this video and come back and watch it when you've seen the film. But anyway, hopefully all the fun people are still watching and we can talk about Barbie! Hi Barbie! Now, I went to see this last Friday. I was super excited. I actually had a film crew from Sky Docs come to film me, get ready for the film, and go with my friends to watch it, and then they recorded us talking about the film afterwards because they're making a documentary all about Barbie. And of course, I will let you guys know when the documentary comes out. I'm really excited and I'm really grateful that I got to be involved with this documentary. But anyway, they filmed me getting ready. I was obviously wearing all pink. I was using this toiletries bag as just a normal bag. I put like my disposable camera in here and stuff like that. And we went to see the Barbie movie. I took the obligatory picture inside the giant Barbie box. Me, 4 of my friends, my mum and dad and brother, all went into the cinema and we ordered loads of cocktails, obviously only things that were pink. I also ordered some popcorn. And like I said, I was really nervous. It was such a great vibe in the cinema though. Everyone there was dressed in pink and the cinema was packed out. There was not a single empty seat in the whole screening and everyone was laughing and clapping and crying along to the film, which I love. You know, this film really felt like an event. You know, how often do we get really femme, campy films like this that are big box office draws? Like, not very often. You know, normally the films that have this kind of fanfare are superhero movies. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it's time we had some more fun, campy films. And Barbie was that, so yay. I was surprised by how much of a roller coaster this film was. It was really funny, number one, had a great sense of humour, but it was also really sad and quite moving, and you know, it really made you think about your place in the world, our place in the world, and also Barbie's place in the world. There's a song by Billie Eilish in the film called What Am I Made For, which I think really sums up the kind of theme of the film, as well as tackling, you know, misogyny and the patriarchy and women's roles, and there was so much going on. Maybe sometimes too much going on. That might be one of my first criticisms, like maybe this film tried to tackle slightly too much in one film. You know, they need to leave some things to tackle in the sequels, because I am sure there are going to be sequels. But I'm sure a lot of you guys watching are big Barbie fans like I am, and I loved all the Barbie references and meta humor in this film. And there was so much for us. As a Barbie collector, there was so much in there for us. And I'm really glad that Greta Gerwig really did her research. Right from the beginning of the film, we have like a reference to 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I'm sure a lot of you guys saw in the trailer. And then we have this shot of all these different famous, iconic Barbies. Wow, like, this is exactly what I wanted out of a Barbie movie, like references and live action versions of my favourite dolls. I also think that the Dua Lipa mermaid Barbies were meant to be the mermaid fantasy Barbies. What do you guys think? They definitely look very similar to them. I love that Nicole Coughlan was dressed as Sparkle Eyes Barbie. I clocked that straight away. And she even has the big, chunky plastic necklace. Such great attention to detail. All these little things that are so relatable and nostalgic for people who played with dolls. And her feet made a kind of sound when they came out of the shoes. We had Barbie in her astronaut costume. We of course had pregnant Midge, and also Alan had a big role to play in this film, which is funny because there's only been like 2 Alan dolls in history. But that was kind of the joke. There was a whole scene with like discontinued dolls, and Earring Magic Ken was in there, and Sugar Daddy Ken was in there, which I didn't even realise was a real doll. I thought they made that up for the film, but no. So like, even I, as a Barbie expert, as a self-proclaimed Barbie expert, was learning new things by watching this film. We also had a reference to Video Girl Barbie, and there was a quick reference to Teen Talks Barbie. Growing Up Skipper was there, with her like growing chest. And don't even get me started on all the amazing iconic looks that Margot Robbie wore to the different premieres around the world for this film. Us Barbie fans were really well catered to. The art design for this film as well, top notch, top tier. Everyone knows about how there was a pink paint shortage after they painted the Barbie Land set. And you know what? It was worth it. They painted all these backdrops because they really wanted to give it a old Hollywood feel, this film, with a lot of practical effects, which again, I love that. I'm not a big fan of CGI. Whenever filmmakers do things practically, I always think it looks so more visceral and real, and I love that. I loved the whole opening moments of the film where we got to see Barbie's routine. You know, just watching a day in the life of Barbie, it was really all I signed up for. I was just like, you know what? After that scene, I was like, good, I'm happy now. So everything else after that was just like added bonus. In Barbie Land, all the trees were made of plastic, everything was perfect and pristine and pastel, and women were pretty much running everything, which, super cool, love that. Not only were they running everything, but they were doing it in ball gowns and high heels and incredible hair and incredible makeup, and we love that. So camp, so brilliant. But now I'm going to talk about some of the things that I found a bit conflicting about this film, that like, I'm not sure how much I liked them, decisions that were made that I'm not sure how much I liked. First of all, I have to say, I think I preferred the first half of the movie to the second half. It's very odd, like about halfway through the movie, the story just completely shifts to be about something completely different. At the beginning, when Barbie goes to the real world, in search of like purpose and meaning in her life, and also to try and understand why some of the veneer in her life is kind of disappearing, I really liked that bit. I thought that was a really cool story. When Barbie gets to the real world and there's a moment when she's just trying to be present and she can like hear kids playing and wind in the trees, and then she starts to cry. I thought that was really, really poignant fraction. While this is all going on, Ken is discovering that in the real world, men run lots of things, thanks to misogyny. And he runs back to Barbie World, changes everything. Then when Barbie goes back to Barbie Land, Ken's like running everything. Ken's sort of the villain, but not really. Like, he's kind of too ditzy to be a proper villain. And even though I love the message and the humour in like the Barbie Land when Ken takes over, I do think some of the messaging in those bits was a little bit too obvious, you know what I mean? I wish they were a little bit subtle with what was going on. But yeah, I think some of the jokes there were a little bit obvious, and also I liked Barbie trying to like discover herself. So when we went on this little detour about Ken taking over Barbie Land, I was kind of like less interested in that. But it was still really funny and really great. And I think there were a lot of like really important points made in that part of the film. Now, there was also a scene with Ruth Handler, but actually not her, it's like someone playing her. And I thought that scene was really beautiful, like really sweet. They even reference Ruth Handler's like shady past, like the stuff that got her fired from Mattel, which maybe I'll make a video about the Handler family one day. I think that would make an interesting video, but anyway, I really liked that scene. Ruth Handler is basically saying to Barbie, you give young people the opportunity to dream, and that's kind of your role in life. And Barbie decides not to continue doing that, which I didn't like. I didn't actually like that. It kind of felt like a shame, you know. In superhero movies, superheroes often are given this kind of like burden of having to protect people, and that's kind of what Barbie was given here, and I thought it was a shame that she shirked her responsibilities and didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, no, Barbie, I want you to be Barbie, you know? I thought that was a bit of a shame that at the end of the film she kind of like just goes off to the real world. I even didn't like it when Ugly Betty's character was like, why didn't you make an ordinary Barbie? And everyone was like, yeah, that would be a great idea. No, it wouldn't. I don't want Barbie to be ordinary. No, that's lame. Like, Barbie's meant to be like heightened and like exciting. And I kind of felt like the point of the film was Barbie was taking her newfound knowledge, stuff she found out in the real world, and bringing it to Barbie Land. And once she'd done that, once she'd kind of educated all the Barbies in Barbie Land about what was going on in the real world, then Barbie Land became a lot more grounded, realistic place. So Barbie didn't need to go back to the real world. And if I were to change the ending, I would have had Barbie stay in Barbie Land, and they can still have that joke about her visiting the gynecologist, but instead, maybe they're opening a gynecologist's office in Barbie Land. Like, that would still be quite funny. Like, we could have the president, like, doing the opening ceremony of the Barbie gynecologists. I don't know, that's just my idea. But yeah, I thought it was kind of a sad ending that she kind of gave up her superpower of being Barbie, you know? But everything else about the film I absolutely adored, and I think it really lived up to the hype, it lived up to the expectation, and it felt like it was a film made for Barbie fans and people who love Barbie. It annoyed me a little bit in the film that they didn't acknowledge that some little boys also play with Barbies. It kind of really ran with the idea that only little girls were playing with Barbies. I found it very interesting that Mattel came off so badly in the film. They made Mattel look like this kind of horrible dungeon. I think overall the film was a lot more camp and wacky than I was expecting it to be, which is definitely not a bad thing. Now let's talk about the cast a little bit. Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling did an absolutely amazing job bringing to life these iconic toys. I was really impressed. I think Margot Robbie was really sweet and endearing, and whilst also being like strong, and Ryan Gosling was just funny. You know, I was not expecting Ryan Gosling to be such a good comedic actor. He was really jokes. In the movie, whenever they spoke about kind of going outside of your comfort zone to discover new facets of yourself, I found that quite poignant and quite moving. You know, I've had to do that before in my past, and I love feeling comfortable and situated, so pushing myself out of my comfort zone is not something I'm good at. So hearing the movie talk about that was very sweet, you know, and it really hit home for me. Anyway, I keep going off on these random tangents. I've seen speculated online that Sasha and her friends are meant to represent the Bratz. I can see it, I can definitely see it. I found that quite funny. I love that this film has brought Barbie, like, back to the forefront, re-sparked a lot of kind of conversations about Barbie's relevance in culture. I could honestly talk about this movie forever, all day. I love that Barbie is being kind of re-evaluated and seen for, like, the feminist icon that she is. Barbie was demonized for so long, but I think fundamentally the kids that played with Barbie, myself included, used her as like a fantasy and an escape. You know, you got to imagine whoever you wanted to be, and for me it was a great way for me to explore my gender expression and my femininity, and I feel like this movie is kind of bringing back a lot of those memories for my generation of being able to explore and play. And I cannot wait for there to be sequels, hopefully. Like I said, I could talk about this film all day. I know I'm going to stop recording and have more things I want to say and more things I want to talk about, but for now I'm going to end this video here. Let me know what you thought of the film. Let me know what you thought of my opinions on it. Also, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel if you're new here. And also check me out on Instagram and TikTok. And I will see you real soon, doll fans. Bye. Bye, Barbie.